Okay, so we're going to talk about taxes. Yay. I'm just going to kind of go over some of the general consensus stuff that I found as far as what you can write off and stuff like that. But if you have questions, I can maybe fake an answer, but I would ask someone, CPA or someone who works with small businesses, to get a good real answer. Or TurboTax. TurboTax might know answers too. So we're going to go over about 5 or 6, 7. Hold on. You get out of here. Go. 5 or 6 kind of different items. There's one website, and I'll post on my websites, that kind of lists the deductible dozen. I'm not going to go over all of them because I don't understand all of them. It goes into like insurance and Social Security, and so we're not going to do that. But to start off, one of the things that you can write off, and I actually didn't realize this, is your home office. If it's a space that is 100% devoted to your business. So you can measure it doesn't have to be a whole room either. It can be a corner in a room, but it has to be a devoted space. It can't be your kitchen table, or I have a little like desk in my kitchen. It can't be that. It has to be a dedicated like room space. You can measure your work area and divide the square footage, and that about divide it by the square footage of your home, and that's the percentage that you can deduct. And by doing that, you can actually deduct, I think it's $5 a square foot up to 300 square feet. And it can include deducting, hold on, I lost that note. It can include deducting part of your mortgage, your insurance, your homeowner's insurance, electricity, heat, your utilities, and that kind of stuff. So as long as you can prove, or if you were to get audited and you can show that it's dedicated office space for your business. So that's the biggest thing, is just being able to prove that that's what you use it for. Office supplies. So things like printer ink, printer paper, postage, paper clips, all that kind of different things. You can write all that off, pens, pencils. Again, make sure you keep receipts. You document on those receipts. Just make a little note about what you use. Furniture. You can write off your furniture. Things like a new desk chair, a bookcase, as long as it's used for your business purposes, you can write all that off. You can do something where you take 100% of it right away, or this depreciation, and that's where I get confused. So please don't ask me questions about depreciation, because I have no answer for that. But your accountant could, or maybe Lindsay, because she teaches business, she might understand depreciation. No. But, and then other things like, computers, printers, scanners. Again, you can do that kind of the same way you do your office furniture. You can take 100% up front, or you can do the depreciation over 7 years, I think it said. So all that kind of stuff can be written off. iPads. And you deduct it based on the percentage of business use. Like our computer, I use probably 80% of the time for business, but my husband does use it for 20% of the time, whether it's gaming or bill paying or something like that. So I would only write off 80% of the computer, or we bought a new monitor, so I'd write 80% of that cost off versus 100%. Let's see. Mileage. You need to be able to show the date, the mileage you start and end, tolls, parking costs if you have any, and the purpose of your trip. They've suggested creating a spreadsheet. I'm going to try and make a mock type log that you guys could use. And you can basically kind of just keep a running log, total that mileage, and multiply it by 54 cents a mile is kind of what you're allowed to write off cost-wise. After you've done that, then you add in any tolls. Like I take the tollway everywhere, so I can write off those tolls. as well as any parking, like if you have to pay to park or anything like that. Home-based businesses, your miles start as soon as you leave the driveway, and they go until you return home. So if you're going to be going, if you have to go to 3 places and 2 of them are business related, as long as you start and end with business, you can count the entire trip as write-off, from what I understand. I would double check that. If you're going to do that, I generally just keep track of point A to point B. But from what I understand, you can do that. And home-based business write-off, anything. You're going to meet a hostess for, a hostess coaching meeting. You're going to purchase supplies. I go to networking meetings. If you're doing research, again, you can use all of that as business write-offs, mileage write-offs. And then there is another way on this website that you can calculate things. I think it sounds really confusing. So again, I'll post the website and you can read it and see which one works better for you. Travel. When you travel, you can write off 100% of your hotel, your cost of travel, your tips if you have to tip anyone, anything associated with that, whether you have to get something dry cleaned, you have to have a rental car, all that kind of stuff you can write off. If you're dining out, if you're eating out, you can only deduct 50% of that off towards your taxes. So lodging, tipping, rental car, travel expenses themselves, airfare, that kind of stuff, that's 100%. Meals are 50. Let's see if I had anything else on that. I pulled stuff off of like 4 websites, sorry. Any airport parking that you have to do, if you have to park your car for an airport, you can write off that too. Let's see. If you're taking someone out to lunch, if you're taking a hostess out to lunch, or you're going to a networking meeting, only 50% of that can be written off. But make sure you keep your receipts, and they suggested on the back of them, writing down the date, the client, or business, whoever you met with, their name, what you talked about, whether it's host coaching or building your business or networking or something like that, kind of keeping track of all of that right on your receipts, and then putting those in a dedicated space so that when it does come tax time, you can just pull that file and start adding up and calculating your deductions. Some of the other things I'm just going to mention, but I'm not going to talk about because it's way over my head. Insurance premiums. If you're self-employed and paying for your own insurance, I believe you can write off 100% of that. It can't be more than net business profit, and it's not allowed if you're eligible for other healthcare coverage, such as through your spouse. There's also retirement contributions and Social Security type of write-offs, but I'm not quite sure. It was way over my head. Let me see. Phone charges. So you can write off the cost of your business calls made from home. They recommend getting your phone bill and just circling any type of business related calls, totaling it, and then at the end tally a year's worth of phone bills, and you conduct 100%. If you use a landline, which not a lot of people do anymore, whatever fees and charges that would regularly be there, you cannot write off. But if you have a second line that you use just strictly for business, then those charges you're able to write them off. So again, if it's something shared from home, you can't write off the charges. If it's a strictly 100% business, then you can. Cell phone, again, you claim the percentage of your call. So For me, I use my cell phone for both Clever Container business and my athletic training business. It's how all my coaches get a hold of me. It's how my per diem jobs get a hold of me, how my hostesses and my customers get a hold of me. So I would probably write off about 50% of my cell phone bill because that's what I use it for. But you really need to kind of calculate what percentage you're using it for. You can, along the lines of the utilities, you are allowed to deduct some of your internet and your broadband bill. Again, it can't be 100% unless it's dedicated just for your business, which when it's out of a home, they're like, well, anyone that's on your Wi-Fi is using it, so you can't write it off, write off all of it. So there's that. Reading through my stuff here. If you paint your office, you can write the paint off. All my new, like my artwork and stuff that I just bought, I could write that off because it upgraded my office. I needed it. Lamps, light bulbs, that kind of stuff is all deductible. And then getting into a little bit of actual business supplies. Any ads that you run, so if you boost a post on Facebook, you can write that off. Newspaper ads, if you are doing that, or paper ads, like I'm in a local business magazine, so I could write that off. Those are all deductible. Startup costs, so if you purchased a kit last year, those are not deductible. Those are considered capital expenses, and you cannot write those off. So you do have to, that's just not write off. Business cards, if you order bags, order forms, catalogs, if you have a website fee, that's all deductible as well. Inventory has to be calculated if you're selling it as taxable goods. So you basically keep a running list of all the items that you purchased during the year, and you have to, I didn't understand that all the way. You have to calculate the total if you're selling it as a taxable good.
Because Julie, I think you've done this before. Can you just like make a list of what you have on hand as of the end of the year? So like if I have, 10 Clever Shoppers and 10 Stuff and Goes at the end of 2016, can I turn that amount over into my account and say I still have these things available?
Mine does. Mine says yes.
Okay, so I could make a list.
My big thing is I don't know what came in 15 or 16. I'm not keeping track of it like that. And she said, just give me your end of the year list. So
like you could take inventory of what you had at the end of the year of all your like cash and carry and turn that amount over since we haven't made profit on it, I guess, yet. Okay.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know if that's right or not, but that's how I'm doing it and how she told me to. So I just keep writing it off.
Yeah, and I guess my only other question on that is if you have items like for a home party display, does that count? I don't think that necessarily counts because that's your...
it would count because you could resell that.
Okay, so you still would write all that off. Okay.
Unless it's stuff you're personally using, for your stuff.
I just ordered a bunch. And then, and I talked to Chad's cousin he's a CPA, but not for small business. But he said basically as long as you keep receipts and you keep good documentation that proves it's a business expense, a business necessity, you can deduct it and claim it. But just know if you get audited, you have to be able to prove that that's what you were using it for. So he said that's kind of the biggest thing to remember is you have to be able to prove that it's legitimate business expense. So I'm just looking through. I think that's all I came up with that was like relevant to direct sales, small business, home-based business.
Don't forget vendor event entry fees or anytime you offer some sort of door prize or raffle. And that's one thing that I need to be better about getting from my vendor events is some sort of receipt. And you would think that most vendor events would be better about providing a receipt for the event to their people at the end of, because I look back and I'm thinking, I wrote all these checks out and I have the vendor event form that I filled out, but there was no receipt given to me like the day of that said, yes, she attended, yes, she paid.
Yeah, and I need to be better. I'm the same way, and I need to be better about actually just logging like a raffle prize or a door prize donation too. And I'm going to work on trying to create some spreadsheets, maybe make that a little bit easier.
Maybe we could work on one at leadership.
Yeah.
We could do that. The other thing I was thinking was I have been printing off all my post my party receipts also. And then there's a way that you can go into Facebook and pull the boosted ads. And I was even going to see, I had tried looking, but I use Square Up and they take a percentage of my sales from that, 1.5% or 2%. And surely there's a way in that system that will track how much I've had to pay to that company for that transfer funds. Because I would think that would be a business expense too that I could potentially.
Yeah, and I tried to find stuff like that because I use Square too, and it takes 2% of each swipe. And I tried finding something specific to that, and I didn't, unless it was in there and I just didn't understand the verbiage that was being used. I did not find anything specific to it. But again, I was just going through kind of the small business tax for dummies type websites, because some of them were I started reading and my eyes literally crossed and I had no idea what they were.
I think it will help our teams if we can at least provide them with some sort of tracking system that can get them started on, make sure, because postage, I was shocked at how much I spent last year in postage once I started adding up all of those receipts. And I was a little embarrassed to show my husband how much I had spent over the course of the year mailing out catalogs and things like that. But it was a huge saving for us to be able to save all those and, prove that. Because I look at it, and I can't remember the exact percentage, but I know traditionally they take about 30% of your paycheck out for taxes. And so I get a little nervous sometimes because I'm thinking 30% of, what I've made over the course of the year. Sorry. With Clever Container, I don't always set aside 30% each month of my commission to turn around and pay back to taxes. Our family uses those funds. And so anything and everything that I can do to try to reduce the amount that I have to pay at the end of the year is beneficial. The other thing I will tell you is, unless you feel very comfortable doing this yourself, find an accountant that is willing to work with direct sales. Mine's a family friend I've known him my whole life, and he has told me it's a good thing I love you because otherwise I wouldn't do your taxes, because it can get a little taxing to use time there. Because it's so different compared to, a traditional write-off. There's so many different things we can add in there, and it can get a little overwhelming. So,
yeah, I think I'm at the point where I might be trying to find someone this year. We've done TurboTax in the past, but last year it was so minimal. I didn't have inventory, and I didn't have, I worked from the kitchen, and so I didn't, but and I need to go, like I said, I need to start getting receipts for things. I do a lot of click and ship from my house, so I have everything logged, and anything that is U.S. Postal Service is either product or catalogs or, something like that. So I just need to I need to be better about tracking things. I know as I'm sitting here reading some of this when I was doing the research, I was like, yep, didn't do any of that. So, car mileage is my biggest thing.
The easiest thing I found for that is an app called Mile IQ, and it's like $50 or $60, I think maybe a year. But oh my gosh, it is totally worth it. It tracks everything as long as I have my phone with me, and even different legs of the trip, you can categorize it if you want to, if it was personal or business, and it's just been a lifesaver. On that.
I mean, you could use that $50 as a tax write-off too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, because at one point I bought a notebook. It's a cute little notebook, has a cute little bookmark thing in it. It's empty in my car. My kids might have drawn in it.
Yeah.
Training sessions too, because I purchased a couple training sessions. Like I purchased one at conference last year, and then I've signed up for, ones that are $24 or whatever, or bought the Calendar Girls deal from Gail Bates, and those little things that are trying to improve my business, and so I can turn those receipts in also.
Yes, this light is bothering me, so I'm just gonna do that. It's like I have a weird.
Roger, Janet, do you guys have any questions?
Creed, Creed, did you
I
get?
don't think I made enough.
Made enough what? Commission or whatever?
Yeah.
You'd be surprised, I think. You'd be surprised. Sometimes.
Okay.
And the other thing too, I mean, if you earn the incentive trip, that's taxed. I think my cute Coach bag that I won at conference last year will probably be taxed. I'm gonna have to sell that so I can pay my taxes.
How does that work with the incentive trip then? Like,
I think they take the price of like how much it costs, and
That's considered income.
yeah. I might have to
Not
get a
airfare.
job to pay my
Airfare would-
tax this year. I'm nervous.
I'm gonna need a tax guy.
Makes a difference.
Yeah, I might suck it up and pay for one. Are they expensive?
Mine's 75, I think so. But that's small town, works out of his, kitchen.
Yeah, I don't even know where I'd have to. I mean, I know a couple of like financial advisors, but I don't know if that's what or if they would know someone.
I've never tried TurboTax, and maybe it works really well and is really user-friendly and step-by-step.
It usually is, and it usually will tell you like, hey, did you think about this or that? But
yeah.
Does it walk you through it? Like, does it ask you if you have a other business or?
Yeah, it does. It will ask you the different, questions, and then if you click yes, then it's got all these categories you pick from. And I think Chad, I just give Chad a pile of stuff, and Chad does it. But I know that one of my friends out here, she was with Arbonne for a long time, and she said that using and all the deductions that she had, she was able to pay for a family trip because it saved them, like, or increased their refund or something like that. So it's worth it to log it and keep it put together and stuff. So it's kind of a pain, but I think, like Lindsay said, if we can come up with some tracking systems for you guys, it'll be a little bit.
Because if we can create some sort of spreadsheet and have, a section, like a tab or whatever, a new sheet for postage and mileage and business supplies, kind of just the categories that can typically, be utilized.
Yeah. I think that'll be good.
Come up with something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that'll be good. That's all I've got. Like I said, it's just kind of a real basic things to think about, look back on, see if you have receipts for. Like, I think half of my networking meetings, I've lost the receipts to them. You can only write off half, so I guess that works. But
Why are you crying? Do you want to say hi to everybody? Do you want to say hi to everybody? You can say hi if you quit crying. Hurry.
With you.
Okay, get up here.
I will wait on you.
Get up here. Everybody, hi.
Hi, Sydney.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, Lisa, thank you for putting this together.
yeah, sorry it's not too, I mean, like you said, if I got any more in depth, I would not know what I was talking about. So,
But some people don't even know that they can, deduct the little things. And so I think this is a great starting point for them to begin,
yeah.
if
Well,
nothing
like,
is tracking.
I didn't realize I could write off my office space and part of my mortgage for that and
Yeah, that's awesome.
stuff. So I guess I will. I take over the whole room, so might as well do it.
Let me stop the recording.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can start.